I don't even smoke anymore. 22 years now without a cigarette. I took up overeating. It's like I took my money off of lung cancer and put it on heart attack to win. I'm not fat. I'm American. The rest of the world, I might be obese. In America, I'm from Michigan. I love America, land of the free, home of the brave, nation to the fattest people on earth. Really, there's no one starving in this country. Oh, I know there's people hungry, and I know there's people that are eating stuff they'd rather not be eating, but there's no one starving, not to death. Now, last people I remember reading about starving to death in America were Lady Gaga and Mary-Kate Olsen. I'm walking through a park, and I'm watching children feeding bread to the birds. And I think to myself, if there were really people starving in this country, you would not see children feeding bread to the birds. You wouldn't see birds. I might actually like that. Because I'm a carnivore. I'm also an artist. And I've successfully painted myself into a corner I have no idea how to escape. No, I've been doing this professionally for 30 years now. At this point, there's nothing else I can do. No, I have a gap in my resume, the exact length of a very serious prison sentence. Yeah, you can't talk your way out of that one. They won't believe whatever you tell them. HR's like, what have you been doing between 1989 and 2019? Want to hear a funny story? I'm at that unemployable age. I'm too old to be a fry cook, yet too young to be a Walmart greeter. So here I am. At least I don't have to worry about student debt. Yeah, that's a big problem for a lot of young people today, the debt that they've acquired. And it's so much so that some politicians are actually suggesting that we should just forgive all the student debt. And yeah, I know it's popular, but that's not the way America's supposed to work. See, the way America works, if you buy a crummy toaster, you take it back to the crummy toaster store. They give you your money back. So if you bought a crummy degree that won't earn you enough money to repay the loan you took out to acquire that degree, you take it back to the crummy university that sold it to you. It's kind of their fault. There should have been some warnings. We're a nation of warnings. You buy a pack of cigarettes, they're going to say, well, this might give you cancer. You go into a casino, warning right there, you might have a gambling problem. It should be printed in every college catalog, right next to Gender Studies 101. It should say, you're not getting a job with this. No, I swear, every spring, the art schools of America put another 300,000 crummy artists into the unemployment line with 300,000 crummy artists from last year and 300 crummy artists from 2 years ago. And I blame refrigerators. Because what happens the very first time a little kid brings home his very first crummy painting? Bam! Right there on the refrigerator. It doesn't matter how bad it is. He could just get a paper bag and scratch on it with a dirty stick and still end up in the same place of honor. And his relatives just rave about his creations. Oh, I love the colors you've chosen here. And the perspective is really interesting. It's a three-fingered postman. That didn't happen in our grandparents' day. No, our great-grandparents were brutal. The first time our grandparents came home with their very first crummy painting, it was like, oh, you know what, sweetie? I would love to put this up here on the icebox, but it's made of wood. Magnets don't stick. Scotch tape is yet to be invented. So why don't you just take that outside and feed it to the goat? Maybe you'll be a veterinarian someday. Kids today don't know any better because they're being praised and they start glowing and they think they did something incredible to be shown at the Gallery Frigidaire. And they think to themselves, gosh, maybe I can be a professional artist someday. And 7 piercings, a neck tattoo, and $100,000 later, they're working at a Starbucks complaining about their student loan. Okay. If we're going to pay back student loans, we should also pay back my Visa bill. Let me tell you, I got an education running up that Visa bill. I learned things they don't teach you in college. I learned there's no such thing as Nigerian royalty. And you never hit on 17. I learned that from the 3rd floor balcony, the hotel swimming pool looks a lot closer than it actually is. That a leg cast costs more than a jet ski. That you never take a swing at a cop. And that bail bondsmen take Visa. All in one wild night of higher academics. Anyway, now I got to pay it back. Calling me at home. Never cared how I was before. Called me up, Mr. Slagle, you went $60,000 in debt last year. I go, oh no, you kind of got that wrong. You see, last year I ran a $60,000 budget deficit. Just a part of my personal economic stimulus package. Anyway, this is interesting too. I saw this in the news. I think this is fascinating. They've just discovered that self-driving cars are involved in accidents at 5 times the rate at human-driven cars. And the reason why is because self-driving cars are programmed to obey the law. Yeah, humans don't work like that. A self-driving car, the camera on a self-driving car will see that the light has turned from green to yellow. And that fires the algorithm to apply the brakes gradually to come to a complete stop before the vehicle reaches the intersection. A human-driven car will see the light go from green to yellow, and the algorithm says, floor it. Straight through the self-driving car parked at the intersection. There's an incompatibility issue here. Yeah, out on the expressway, speed limits are set by democracy. Isn't that how it goes? We all kind of rattle along at the same speed till someone just speeds past everyone. And he suddenly becomes the majority candidate of choice. And everyone votes for that to be the speed limit. They register their ballot right there on the cruise control. And that becomes the speed limit. Society moves forward at a faster pace, until there's some third-party jerk in the left lane doing 55. Cops don't like us choosing for ourselves. Do you know why I pulled you over? Yes, because you hate democracy. So there's only two solutions to this problem. Either we make all the cars driven by robots, and I don't like that idea at all. No. Once we start letting the robots drive all our cars, they're going to want to control the radio. And I hate techno. The other solution is to program robots to violate the law. Yeah, you don't want to go there. No, you're going to be in a world of trouble. You'll come home from work someday and look around the house and you can't find your husband and go, Roomba, have you seen my husband? Yes. I discovered he was the source of the dirt. I was programmed to eliminate the dirt. He shouldn't be a problem. And I think I need to be emptied. I wanted a Roomba for Christmas. I was disappointed. Made me think of all the disappointments I've had in life, and I think the greatest disappointment was the time I tried to impress the goth girl. Yeah, because when I was young, I was infatuated with this goth girl. She was just ravishing. She was all corsets and lace and hair the color of midnight and eyes like emeralds, and I was a dork. I had no idea what I could do that would make her attracted to me. So I thought long and hard, and I said, maybe I could take her to the reptile house at the Chicago Lincoln Park Zoo. Because they have this reptile house there that was old Victorian building built like in 1896. And 100 years later, all the reptiles were still there because none of them died. Because it's almost impossible to kill a reptile. You turn off the heat and they just go to sleep. You stop feeding them and then they eat their young. So I figured this would be perfect, is I could bring her there because it's old and dark and cold and creepy and boring. Reptile houses are really boring. They don't do anything. They don't even blink. They just sit there staring at you. And I thought, well, maybe if I could get us in there at feeding time. So I went to one of the docents and I said, can you tell me when they feed the reptiles? And she said, oh, we're not allowed to tell anyone that. And so I gave her $20 because it is Chicago. And she said, well, I'm not supposed to let anyone know, but they only feed the snapping turtles once a month. And they're scheduled to be fed this Friday at 1 o'clock. And I said, oh, this is absolutely perfect. I'll make a date. We'll go to the zoo. And about 1 o'clock, she's going to start worried about getting tan. So we could go into this nice, dark reptile house, and then we could see the snapping turtles fed, and it'd just be incredibly romantic. And we go in there, and she goes straight for the boa constrictor. And over here in this corner, there's a bunch of little kids, 5th grade kids with a teacher and a couple teacher's aides checking out the chameleons, bored out of their skulls. Chameleons are a lot more fun in cartoons than they are in real life. And I go right over to the snapping turtle tank because I want a good seat. And it was this huge aquarium with just filled with snapping turtles. And behind it were these rocks to make it look like we're out in nature. And if you ducked way down, you could see over the rocks and into the preparation room that was behind all the tanks. And I could see the zookeeper starting to get the food ready. And I go, hypoxia? I believe they're about to feed the snapping turtles. And one of the teachers overhears me and she says, hey kids, do you want to see them feed the turtles? And the kids are like, yeah! And they all go rushing over and they shove us way back and pull all the kids in front so they're all right up against the glass. And then the zookeeper comes up with this big white 5-gallon pickle bucket. And you wonder, well, what's in there? You know, Purina turtle chow? Maybe some yummy snappy treats? No. The bucket was filled with live mice. And these aren't the greasy gray mice you catch out in the shed. No, these are adorable white mice. The kind you buy a little kid when you can't afford a puppy. They have soft pink ears and big button eyes and little twitching whiskers. And she takes this bucket of mice and just pours it into a tank of starving snapping turtles. And for about 5 minutes, it was like watching a documentary on World War II. The water just started boiling and foaming and churning, splashing against the glass, and you couldn't see anything, but occasionally the water would part and you'd see like a little scene of horror. You know, you see like one little mouse swimming as fast as he could towards the edge, but his entire bottom half is missing. And at this point, the kids are catatonic. They're in shock. The teachers have no idea what to do. It's like, hey kids, do you want to go see the pandas? There are no pandas at Lincoln Park Zoo. They're just improvising at this point and trying to get them moving out of the... And at this point, something happened that I know is stuck with those kids the rest of their lives. They learned a lesson in the struggle against adversity because somehow, some way, a little mouse managed to swim through all this chaos and get up on the rock. And the turtles would have none of that. They're still like reaching up and trying to snap him and pull him back in. And he climbs up to the second rock. And they can't reach him anymore. And he takes a couple breaths and he shakes off all the water. And the zookeeper goes, blink. And this one little kid had enough. What do you do that for? It was home safe. He made it to the goal. You're supposed to let him go. The poor little kid learned for the first time in his life that happy endings only happen in Disney cartoons. And even the goth girl was mad. She starts yelling at me, did you plan this? That is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And she turns around and she helps the teachers gather the children and calmly escort them out of the reptile house. And she walked into the sunlight and out of my life forever. I never saw her again. She probably doesn't even remember me, but if she does, she probably still hates me. But I did her a favor. Because that was the day that she realized she's not a vampire. She realized she is a mammal. We are all mammals. We are intelligent. We are warm-blooded. We don't eat our young. That's why we feel sorry for the mice. And not the poor turtles that haven't had a bite to eat for the past month. We are all together on Team Mammal. And if you keep reptiles as pets, you're sick. You are fighting on the wrong team. And that's why I want to encourage everyone tonight to use plastic straws. One last thing I'd like to talk about before I get out of here is taxes. I think we have to teach the next generation about taxes. Folks, if you have kids, please teach them. And the best time you can do this is on Halloween. See, because they're going to put in about 8 full hours of power trick-or-treating. They're going to be bringing home a nice big bag of what should be take-home candy. Just greet that little tyke at the door, just, hey, that's a nice big bag of candy you got there, Harry Potter. But first of all, now see, just because you've made this much, we have to take away this much income tax. Then, to ensure you'll have candy in your old age, pay the Social Security tax. Oh, come on, quit crying. Look, you're going to see it in 50, 60 years. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll just put that right up here, won't touch it till then. I got to level with you, man. Grandpa's going to eat all that. You'll have grandchildren of your own, don't you worry. Well, last of all, we can't forget that state tax, can we? Oh, wait, we might have people from Idaho here. Here's your Snickers bar. Okay, here, this is funnier. Hold on just a minute. Ooh, payday. Oh, wait, you're gonna eat that right now? Hold it, sales tax. You know, I think kids are smarter than that. I'll bet if you did that to your kid, he wouldn't even get dressed up the next year. Probably spend the whole evening on the couch in front of the tube, and when mom puts out that big bowl of candy for the other kids, he's just gonna walk over to that bowl, dump it in his bag. Hey, I'm on welfare this year.
Hey, listen, you guys have been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed my stay here today.